I'm back. Did you miss me?
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Good Lord.
It was a time when this is my new thing. Hot water and lemon.
Oh, now that's really interesting you say that, because I've got a new thing as well. Can I show you? Look.
That'll be vulgar, is it? What is this?
No, this is a glass.
Well, I can see. Yes, I've seen them before. Oddly.
Excellent. It's a receptacle for drinking out of.
Okay, thanks for pointing that out.
With water, but water is laced with cucumber and mint. Very refreshing.
You get more weird with every passing week. As it so happens, water with cucumber and mint is fabulous. But you see, you got shopping today.
Yep.
Showbiz update on the in crowd. The in crowd. I took everything out the fridge.
Hang on. Whisper it. Whisper.
I took everything out the fridge. Oh, okay. I took everything out the fridge and cleaned and washed all the the fridge boxes. Oh, yeah. That's how I roll. That's how I roll. It's a show.
I envy your lifestyle.
Who doesn't? Be honest. Who doesn't? Hello to Paul Claridge. Looking forward to another fun and entertaining show. Well, we're going to hear. Hello, chaps. Sam Munro. So, Paul, are you up at what's that? What's going on? What? The voice scared me.
That voice scared me.
Francois, we know what you did last summer.
I think it's true, though. There are some voices that people genuinely find terrifying. My mother, for example, is absolutely terrified of Brian Blessed's voice.
Gordon's alive.
No. It's much more the bellow that he comes out with, isn't it? It's sort of, I mean, I have to do this a little away from the microphone. I don't think she's watching because I think she's gone out for lunch, but it's sort of the rise up. It's that sort of bellowing thing that he does that she doesn't like very much.
Good news. Paul Claridge is not up a ladder.
Oh, congrats.
And it'd be great if Paul has not been spat on today, punched today, pushed from behind. This is a man recovering from cancer. People in Croydon are just adorable, aren't they? Aren't they nice? Good afternoon to you, Ed Grossman. Good afternoon.
That behaviour is towards Arthur and Mr. Claridge. I don't think they necessarily go up to someone first and ask them, "Are you recovering from a terrible illness?" before they decide to push.
That's not the point. I'm just adding the point. I'm just adding it because it just adds the horror of it all. Who we got? Who haven't we said hello to?
People.
Oh, he'll save every one of us. Barry J. Allen.
Thank goodness for that.
Yep.
Nearly got it wrong. Ed Grossman's joined as well. Hi, Ed.
Hello. Yes. Interesting fellow is Ed Grossman. Interesting fellow. So I had a little bit of a run-in this morning.
Oh, look. Emma Webb's here.
You can read this, or you can read it in your tough guy voice. Let's see how that goes.
Emma Webb says, "Afternoon all. Anyone heard through that?"
That's your Noel Coward voice. Afternoon all.
As I get.
Anyone? This is Emma Webb voice. Anyone hurts you guys and Paul Claridge, or they have to deal with me.
Oh no, I'm in trouble. I thought he'd gone for lunch.
Something's gone wrong here. Something's gone wrong.
Well, whilst he's sorting that out, so he might be a while. But I'm in trouble. Are you back with the C?
Can you hear it?
I'm in trouble though now.
What's the matter?
Because I thought my mother had gone out for lunch, and look.
Hi guys, I'm up a ladder. See what Paul Claridge has done. He's started he's started the craze. Let's go up the ladder. What is your mother doing up a ladder?
I don't think she's up a ladder. I think she's trying to be funny.
No, I think that'd be ridiculous. I've met her. That's ridiculous. Did anybody watch the big fight? You mean Biden versus Trump? No.
Donald Trump. I thought you meant there was something.
What was the point? What's the point of watching that?
It really was like watching an adult school playground, wasn't it?
It's, two old guys yelling at each other, being bad-tempered, no policies, nothing. No gravitas.
He was up a ladder.
Had to get she was up a ladder. Had to get the kitchen roll down.
Okay.
It's all go in your house. Right. Well,
I'd say
be
you,
careful. 'Cause I
yeah,
don't
what
want
happened,
any
you should only see the excitement when the hot tap gets turned on. Seriously, we don't know what to do with ourselves.
Imagine living with a dog. At least you got each other to talk to. Are those laddings on stockings? Wah, 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 wah. Right. I've had Fred Grossman especially. Now, here's the thing. I had a bit of a run-in this morning.
Oh,
A little bit of a run-in. I was not upset, but I'm just gonna air it. Just gonna air it.
it sounds like you're about to get serious, and just before you do, might I say that thanks to Yom Kippur, I've been fully.
You see, this is where you and I disagree. And I'm being serious. Because it was like when I'm going to put my hand in a hornet's nest when IRA people who'd done some terrible things.
Ed, it was horrible. Thank you.
Oh.
I did an extra half an hour by mistake. I thought it came in earlier than it did. Whoops.
What I object to, my dad and I, it's one of the few things we ever agreed on was this. You know, when you go for absolution, so you can do terrible things and they go, say, 25 Hail Marys or something, that's okay. And this whole thing of having your past misdemeanors, sins, whatever it is, just wiped away magically, by the tooth fairy. I just don't agree with it at all. I never have.
But
and I find it very upsetting because to me, and I know I'm really treading on very dangerous ground, but it's like a get out of jail free card. It's like you can be a complete swine, you get absolution, your sins are erased by the magic marker, and boom, you can go off again. And I hate that. I think you should be a decent person all the time. And no one, so I just want to finish this one thing. And no one should be in a position to say, Mr. Jones or Miss Smith, yeah, that's fine. Off you go. They don't have the right to do that. They just don't.
Right. So here's where I fundamentally disagree with that, because I believe that anyone who actually follows Yom Kippur is probably not that kind of individual in the first place. But let me try and break it down. Yom Kippur, yes, is the marker to reset any wrongdoing that you've done in the year gone by. Okay. But these are sort of honest mistakes, ones that sort of, although you sort of take as given, such as respect others, you shall not do this, you shall not do that, this, and the other. I would suggest that it is a case of sort of looking at that to work towards that data, saying, well, hang on a second, Yom Kippur is coming up, and this is the day of judgment for me. If I want to see it through another year, then I need to make sure I behave myself. If I haven't, if I've done something by mistake incorrectly, then I may as well just sort of say, okay, I confess, I'm really sorry. Didn't mean to do this, that, and the other. I shouldn't have done. Now, even though I'm quietly confident that every single person who is in synagogue, certainly the one that I went to, not necessarily the more religious ones.
Did you go to, by the way, got to stop you. Were you allowed to attend? What was the deal? Okay,
so I was, but the reason why I was allowed to attend is because I was part of a team of people who were streaming the service to the
straight to God.
So even though the congregation of around 3,000 people would normally be in the building all at one time, we couldn't do that this year for obvious reasons. So we actually just streamed it online. But anyway, so I was saying that I was there, but most people weren't physically there. The point being, though, is that if you are sort of in a community where you actually have a little bit of common sense and you don't believe that there's a man sitting on a cloud with a huge white beard and stuff like that and is to say, right, you'll live, you'll die, and really is as black and white as that. Of course, no one, certainly the congregation I go to, believes that. But what it does do is it instills a set of values in you. And it actually tells you, frankly, that you are not the most important, not you, one is not the most important thing in this world, and that you have a duty to be kind towards others and recognize that we're not perfect. We do make mistakes, but it's important to recognize those mistakes and learn from it. It is not a way of saying you can do whatever the heck you want, offend somebody, destroy someone's life, whatever. You can't do anything like that and then just sort of say, I'm so sorry, and then it's all forgiven and forgotten, because it's not. Actually giving you a marker. It's giving you a barrier and a boundary to work towards, to say, look, sorry, hold my hands up, I was wrong. And I think
I don't want religion to be the moral guide because it's failed horrendously. We are all individually should be our moral guides, individually and collectively. San Monroe, my dad went to the mosque.
That gets us when you've got people who morally decide whether or not they're okay when it comes to coronavirus.
Precisely so. We all need to be our own moral compass. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they're all their own moral compass, and look at that.
Yes, well, it's chaotic. It's absolutely chaotic because you're trying to impose rules. Well, anyway, let's just get back to this. Seminole, my dad went to mosque every Friday and then drank whiskey the rest of the week, so he wasn't so bad. One day, I'm going to get Sen on just to tell the goat story. The goat story is one of the greatest anecdotes I have ever heard in my life. It just got better and better and better, this story, when Sen was a little boy and his dad.
No, don't ruin it. Let's end it.
It was his dad. I'm not going to say no. That's all I was going to say. Timmy Alexis Carrington Ward. I said it. Who was a great guest on Monday. Timmy he poured his heart out. It was it was emotional. Hilarious, but emotional. Hello, girls.
What, emotionally draining?
No, he was very honest about it, fighting his depression. The way we feel the way we feel when we meet him. That sort of depression. Hello, girls. It's a bit dull on here today. Do you need me to come back on and double your listeners? I said it. Cheeky sausage. You can come back on.
Shall I send you the link, Mr.
He can come back on if he's going to be serious. Not if he's going to ask around. Paul Andrews might join this club. Do they all go instantly? I don't know which one. Francois Pascal. Hypocrites cleanse and then sin again. I agree, Russ. Hypocrites cleanse and then sin again. I agree. This is it. I still think
that, but then that's
Phil, I know you gave a very lovely, and I'm not being sarcastic, a very lovely explanation. I just feel a lot of people think it is the get out of jail card free. I can do what the hell I want. I get Dad wasn't Welsh, said Monroe.
But then might I suggest then that you know the wrong people, because I genuinely don't know one person who treats it like that. Honestly, I don't.
Well, okay.
If I thought for a second that is what organized religion was like, and that's the kind of people I was hanging around with, you've got to be kidding me. I wouldn't be associated with that. I wouldn't want anything to do with it. If that's a bad experience that you've had with it, well, then I'm sorry for you. But honestly, I think that that's the minority.
Look at this. Isn't this gorgeous?
Yes.
Had it made in America. And there's one with a little cockapoo and somebody else on it.
Not made in China. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the comedy stylings. Petrie looks a lot prettier on screen since Monday, dear. Telling me. We had the great Petrie Hoskin. Phil wasn't available because he was atoning. And if you've ever met him, that really is a full day's work. And so Petrie Hoskin, she of Sky News, of LBC, of Talk Radio, of BBC, came on to replace
Talk
Phil.
Radio, that's one on me. Talk Radio, that's one on me. She's been on Times Radio, not Talk Radio.
I meant Times Radio. Has she not been on Talk Radio ever?
No, exactly. I'd love her to be on Talk Radio.
Yeah.
Out loud, I'm so sorry. But anyway,
there we go. Organised religion debate. Paul Andrews, popcorn ready. I can't. It stems from. I think you view religion through your life experiences, don't you? And I just think, even before my life started, I think there are 6 million reasons why I don't believe in God. There you go. I'll leave it at that. Now then, afternoon, everybody. Martin Allen. We didn't say hello to him either. Right, so here's my little run-in that I had today, Phil. See where you stand on this. So I have a daily correspondence with one of the members of the London Assembly who deal with the London Mayor, etc. like this. And this particular London Assembly member, who is a good sport, let's see if we might see if we can get this person on the show one day. But it's not a political show. This is not a political point, all right? And this person posted the pictures of post boxes, and I don't know if you've seen this, gang, that have been painted black.
Yeah,
the post boxes, your normal GPO, lovely classic red post box that we all love, they've been painted black officially to mark Black History Month? And I replied, OFFS, seriously. Now, and I was immediately called to account by a friend of mine and someone who I think is one of the most talented people I've ever met, called Steve First. Many of you know him. He's an absolute genius, brilliant actor, wonderful comedian, character person as well. His one-man show was jaw-dropping, and I'm a huge fan. And I'm very fond of Steve. And Steve pulled me up and said, well, I don't remember this much fuss being made when they were painted gold. And I thought, no, I have to reply. So I replied, this was all before the show, and I replied saying, I don't care. I'm not talking about the color of the post box. A letterbox is a letterbox. As long as my letters get delivered, I don't care what color it is. That's not the point.
Yellow, like an El Dorado.
The yellow one. Or my point was, what I was objecting to is the constant pushing of a narrative. That why are you very special co-host today?
Well, 'cause it said on there, it said very special co-host Petri Hoskins. So I thought, well, you obviously appreciate that wording, and I didn't want to.
Oh, because I changed it because it was a one-off.
Oh, I see. Oh, sorry. I just assumed that's what you wanted it to say moving forward.
You don't. You see, this is it. This is what Yom Kippur done to you. You're lying, thinking you get away with it. Right. Back to my point. What I was said to Steve First was, I don't care about. I'm not arguing about the color of the letterbox. It's irrelevant. It is the pushing of an agenda endlessly that I was objecting to. And I said, please balance this with what happened to this morning in Costa Coffee to somebody on Twitter, which the great Tracy Ann Oberman commented on, and I commented on as well. Let me go on to that. And then Steve said, yes, I saw that. It wasn't good. He said, but we do need to teach some Black history. I said, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. But it has to be balanced. It has to be balanced. This is what happened to somebody on Twitter today. And I'm going to have to paraphrase because I don't have Twitter up in front of me. Okay. So what it was somebody went into Costa Coffee this morning before work, and the person behind the counter says, oh, who do you work for? And I think, have you seen this, Phil? Have you seen this thing? Because you're grinning away.
I'm sorry, I haven't, but I've just seen some artwork by Paul Claridge.
Yes, it's absolutely horrendous, and I didn't put it up. It freaked me out. All right, we'll get Timmy back on. I think we get Timmy on. All right,
I've messaged Timmy. I've messaged him with the link so he can come.
Okay. Oh, he can come if he wants. Fine.
Oh my God, help me!
Well, it's so freaky. You can put it up, and it's so freaky. It's so freaky.
Crumbs. All right. Okay. Well, let's see if I can make this happen. Hang on a second.
I don't know how you do these things. You're going to have to teach me how to do these things. All right. So we're back in Costa Coffee, and the barista says to the customer, "You're a freak. Look at this. Is that not the most freakish thing from Paul Claridge? That's why he's up a ladder. That is just so horrible. That is so horrible.
What have you done?"
It's a portrait of me and Ebony, and of course, if you can't see it clearly, if you're watching on a little phone or something,
oh my!
It's got superimposed instead of Ebony's face, it's Phil Dave's face with Ebony's nose.
Actually, I could get in terrible trouble for that. Paul, I'm going to get in trouble for this now. What are we talking about? Excuse me. And you've darkened my face. I'm going to get in trouble now.
It's Schnauzer appropriation.
Ugh.
You're going to get the Kennel Club onto you. Martin Allen, my dad's family, Jewish on my grandfather's side, my mum's side, Irish on my nan's side. That's why I'm CV. Religion is a path to greatness or reasons for darkness. That is true. Anyway, back to my point, which I've been trying to make for about 20 minutes. So the barista says, oh, who do you work for? And I think this guy says something like either the Jewish News or it was something like that. And he went, oh, so you're Jewish? And the guy says, yeah. This is in Costa Coffee this morning. And he goes, yeah. He says, your boss, is he Jewish? And the guy says, yeah, he is. Is he tight? Now, you're going to paint.
Where
Come
was
on.
this?
Costa Coffee.
No, which
branch? I don't know which branch it was. We can find out. We can find out. I wrote to Costa Coffee and told them to F off and get some training. I did immediately. It's reminiscent of Bob Carroll and Spit the Dog. So the point is, what I'm saying is, where's the balance? Where's the balance? There isn't any.
Well, you say where's the balance?
One agenda no one gives a monkey's about, and the other agenda everyone has to listen to. So
Well,
that's my point.
More likely, hang on a second. I think more likely that one agenda, quote, makes more of a racket than the other. Some might say quite rightly, some might say quite wrongly. But the point is that even if you look at situations going on in Israel, what's the one thing that we've observed from all of this that goes on in the Middle East? People lambast Israel left, right, and center because they know they can, and they know there's no comeback from it. You try lambasting the Arab states, and heaven help you, you would not get away with it. I mean, frankly,
well, it won't be popular in Islington, that's for sure.
God. Anyway, right.
There we are. That's the point. So that was my little contra. But you know it. I'm not going to fall out with Steve over this. I wouldn't dream of it. It's not what I do. I ask most fellas I meet if they're. I walked right into that, didn't I? He can't help himself.
You'll be delighted to hear, by the way, that Mr. Ward is too busy learning a new dance routine to join us today.
God Almighty! Is he?
Apparently,
learning a new dance routine.
Well,
nothing stereotypical about Timmy whatsoever. Good afternoon, Katie Spragg. Good afternoon. Russ, with that newspaper, he probably is tight, says Ed Grossman. I don't know what the paper was. I don't know what the organization was. It was something like that. I'm using that as an example. I can look it up and we can take it from there. Anyway, that was the deal.
The reason why I'm interested to know is because I might know this individual, that's all. But anyway.
Well, I can look it up. You chat for a second.
Don't necessarily say it live on air because it might not be very fair to them. But anyway.
You know, he's posted it. It's in the public domain.
Oh, I see. Oh, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, but anyway, so I have a confession to make, and this is not Yom Kippur style. No, this is not.
Get over it.
No, this is not Yom Kippur style. This is actually sort of, this is quite serious, and I didn't think I'd say this. I was sort of quite relieved, not so much this, but just that from all work that I had a bit of a day off on Monday. Okay, it was quite nice knowing that I just had a couple of days, actually a few days in a row, because it was the weekend as well, where I was just going to get a little chance, just to unwind a touch. Anyway, I realized on Tuesday that I actually quite missed doing this show. And the reason why I missed doing it was because I never realized how something as simple as talking through some of the trials and tribulations of the past few days that we've been on, or haven't been on, as the case may be, just how therapeutic it is. You know how they say sometimes that talking is the thing to do? And, well, I mean, arguably, that's what I kind of want to make a career out of, talking. But the point is, it's strange how you can get used to talking, because arguably before this program, I never thought that I would be that kind of individual. Oh, Eve, you're too kind. Thank you. We missed you, Phil. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry. Eve Phantom, you're very kind. However, I thought that actually it was quite nice sort of having this little forum in which to share. And I hope that you feel the same. You know, when we read all the comments out, I know that it can get a bit silly at times, but on other occasions it's not. And I hope that people think of it in the same way.
Yeah, I hope they do. I hope they do. I'm trying to find this thing, but of course there's so many thousands of thousands and thousands of tweets. It's impossible. I'm not going to keep looking, because I'll be there. I will be there until Christmas. I'm back. Okay, it's too much. It does suck you in. Now, have you seen The Social Dilemma yet?
I'm not seeing all of it.
It should be mandatory viewing for everybody. Wow. It freaked me out. It's extraordinary. It's on Netflix. It's called The Social Dilemma, and it's a documentary with a little bit of acting in the middle, which it kind of was unnecessary because the documentary was so powerful. You didn't need, in my view, you didn't need the fictional acting, but and it was by senior people from Twitter, from Facebook, from Instagram, from Pinterest.
Well, what's interesting is from past senior people, wasn't it?
Yeah, they'd all left. They'd all left.
Those who were no longer at those media companies, and that was very telling.
What was really interesting, Phil, was one of the guy invented the like emoji on Facebook. That was here. These are not lightweights. Often in documentaries, you get somebody, what did you actually do? Well, I was a security. Oh, so you weren't actually senior management. You weren't in the board meetings. You didn't make any. No, but I worked in the warehouse. Okay, fine.
No, but what I found curious, though, is he sort of implied he regretted creating the like button.
Well, what he said, it would just freak me out completely. What he said was what they wanted to do at Facebook by creating the like button was to spread happiness. I think his word. What's the matter? What's the matter?
Lord.
Now what's the matter? What's the matter?
Fasten your seatbelt.
Oh God, no! I know what's coming. I know what's coming. I know what's coming. Oh, God. Thought my day couldn't get much worse. But here we go. There she is. There she is.
Oi, Marty.
What?
I'm going back to your black pillar boxes.
Yes, go on.
Oh.
Okay. This is something that comes from, I know you're Jewish, aren't you, darling?
Last time I checked. Only on my parents' side.
Do you want me to
That was very good for him, to be fair.
Come along, Timothy.
Do you want me to double check you're Jewish when I next see you?
Hey, no. Anyway, go on.
Anyway, so all these causes, this Black Lives Matter, it needs to be said. And you know why? And I can say this. I'm going to let you in onto a secret. I'm gay.
No.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Oh my God, you're kidding. You're a homosexual. Never been the slightest clue about that. That is extraordinary. You masked that.
All those men that you caressed on those nights out we had, and you didn't tell us. Unbelievable.
Wow.
You were friendly, didn't you?
I just thought you were a friendly bloke.
Happy go lucky.
Well done. That must be a stress on you, hiding it the way you have. Anyway, go on.
But actually,
right.
You should say that. So I was, back in the day, I think I was just ahead of people going to prison for being gay. Just after, sorry.
When was it made not? When was it made not to be an offence? I can't remember. I thought it was
decriminalised.
Well, when I was younger, in my teens, you had to be 21 for it to be legal. Then I went through the vote when it became equal, fair dues for boys and girls. But I've only realised.
Was that 18? What was that, 18?
Now 16.
16. Okay.
Well, it's 16 now, isn't it? But that was only recent, I think.
Yeah. Which is another story altogether, that you can get married, you can have children and everything, but you can't vote until you're 18. Seriously, it's all skew with.
1967, says Ed Grossman. Thank you, Ed, because he's a lawyer.
Hang on. I have to tell you, I sort of agree with that, though. I actually think the voting age should be raised. Seriously, because I'm not being funny. If I think back now to being 60, even though I've always had, for as long as I can remember, this really enthusiastic attitude towards politics and news, I don't think that even at the age of 16, despite being a bit of a news and politics junkie, that I would have had the slightest clue what I was voting for.
Well, would you then? I would then say raise it all to 18, so you can't marry as well till you're 18, or have all of that. No, I agree with you on that. I would agree with you on that.
All right, let's get back to the point you made.
They've raised the lottery to 18, quite rightly.
Oh, did they? Yeah. Well, all of that, it should be, because people aren't. I know, with my nephew and things, they're not intelligent enough until they are that age. Anyway, looking back on my life, I've realised that I've suppressed who I am. Only now, looking back, without realising that. So if I went to the doctors, I would never have mentioned my other half. It was inbuilt in me. and being an actor as well, when I went to castings, things, I mean, that's a different matter anyway. You didn't want to go in like a screaming queen if you were going after being a dad or something, whatever. Anyway, but what I'm saying is people haven't got to go through these little things. And I've only realized that I was suppressed by it a little bit. Now, I didn't realize I was just being, I suppose, groomed into that role of you can't be like that.
But hang on, how would that suppression manifest itself? Would you actually sort of do things like change the way you dress, change the way you talk? What would you do?
I mean, about what you would talk about and things. You
Really?
were all, I mean, anything like that. When I told my auntie I was gay, she threw herself on the floor and started crying.
What was she really?
I mean, I was naked at the time, but no, but it's those sort of things that people that haven't gone through those things don't realize. So it's all the beautiful people that haven't had to fight their cause are not realizing that actually this time for Black Lives Matter is their time just to go, come on, it's our turn. Just
here's the thing. All right, Timmy, I'm getting your point. Hang on.
On the floor and started crying as well. Whatever.
I mean, Timmy, a lot of people did. I was on the street actually, so the whole street went down. Sound cool.
It's just like a yeah. Now, here's my point. I have no problem at all with Black Lives Matter. I do believe all lives matter, but you're not allowed to, apparently, if you say that, you're a fascist.
And because racists have grabbed that and are running with that. That's why you cannot.
But it's the truth. It's like saying, but Timmy, my argument. I get it.
You understand racists have grabbed hold of that and are using that now.
Yeah, no, I get that point, but it's like gravity. Throw an apple in the air, it will fall to the ground. That is a fact. All lives do matter. That is a fact. That's all people meant.
And actually, you say as well, equally, that it's obviously fact that Black Lives Matter. Yeah. But it's an equal fact. It's not a more important fact than all lives matter. This is the whole point.
Here's an example.
The person's life.
Here's an example. 2 houses. Both matter. One's on fire. So we'll put that one out first. That's the one we need to put our attention on at the minute. This is the one that's in danger at the minute, the house that's on fire. And that's why Black Lives Matter, because it's the Black Lives Matter at this time. That's all it's doing. It's just saying we're concentrating on this house that's on fire at the moment. Is that a good metaphor?
No, not really.
Well, the problem with that metaphor is it's not on fire. It's just being fueled.
It's not on fire, but they're pumping petrol on it. Here's my point. This is what I get your metaphor, but it's I think kind of falls down a little bit. What concerns? There? I don't think it's me actually. I don't think it's me.
Who's got a buzzer going off? So someone's got an.
It's my cooker. I'm about to cook lunch.
For God's sake, it's bleeping.
My house is on fire.
Oh, fair enough.
Fire alarm.
Okay, right. Listen, there's several things here. One is the conflation of what happens in America is what's happening in the UK. That's not true. Our police aren't armed. They don't go around shooting people unless they happen to be terrorists, right?
Oh, but it's okay for the police here to be shot, by the way. Let's get that clear. Apparently.
It's what? No, don't make light of that, Phil.
Apparently it's okay for the police to be shot.
It's not okay.
Who's saying that? Who's saying it's all right for the police to be shot here?
Well, why is the same fuss not being made? This is what I don't understand. This whole storm around BLM.
My husband in. This is his. David.
Right, let me just finish my point. Phil.
BLM started when George Floyd was shot. Okay. And yet, it wasn't. I beg your pardon. George Floyd was not shot. It was only his Nelson. I'm sorry. But anyway, the point is that there was quite rightly a fuss made about police brutality. Get that. Totally understand it. Quite rightly so. But isn't it strange how that when a police officer here who is actually trying to uphold the law gets shot at the police station, there is nowhere near the same level of fuss? What the hell is that about?
I don't know. It's all in the news and everything.
That was nowhere near the same fuss. Come on. Crying out. There's no protest saying the police do wondrous things to help us, save our community, protect us. No one's making the same fuss. Nowhere near.
They're not. The level of media attention is quite different. Now, my point is this. Black Lives Matter movement has been hijacked. That's at the heart of it. And when you look at it and you look at their intentions and you go onto a website and look at the people who are running it, it's a very different situation. Some of them, at the very heart of it, are avowed Marxists. It's not me making it up. It's what they say. Some of them, whole intention is to end the way of life that we know. I'm not going to say that we love, that we know, and that the majority want to have. So that is why. And also the way that it's got into, that's why I was on the other radio station talking about diversity. Was it the right place to have it on a light entertainment show? Whatever you want to say, because I thought
in that respect, that's art, isn't it? And that's expressing, that's all about that sort of thing. What was wrong with them doing that dance?
The dance was quite brilliant. The choreography was superb, and they're highly talented. That goes without saying. Okay. It's the, and then what I can't argue about, Timmy, is that art has always been used to express emotion, to express politics, to express ideas. I can't argue with that, of course. Otherwise, we wouldn't have books, we wouldn't have paintings, we wouldn't have plays. All of that I totally accept and I embrace. A lot of change has come through art. Of course it has. But this is a light entertainment program. So I'm not going to a gallery. I'm not going to a theater. I'm not going to a cinema. I'm not going to Waterstones and buying a specific book. I'm looking at a talent show.
Yeah.
And suddenly in the middle of this light entertainment talent show is a very clear political message. And in the middle of that political message, without doubt, is police brutality. There is. And you can look at it a million times, you'll come up with the same. So, yeah, it has a happy ending, but there is police brutality. And that is American police brutality. It's not here. So the argument they had was, this inspires a discussion. Well, I don't think this fine, art should always have a discussion. Of course it should, whether it's dance, it doesn't matter what it is. But what it shouldn't do is, Daddy, Mummy, are the police horrible people? Should we be scared of the police? And that's what I thought. That was also because it's aimed at kids,
But
go on.
The argument of that is they're coming from a place of being discriminated, and so it's not maybe aimed at the police. It's just that's their background. If you would. You hear it all the time that they'll be pulled over. Black people will be pulled over in a car over a white person being pulled over in a car.
Well, let me just say this to you: that my partner, whom you know very well, but don't doing names. No, who does? In her the younger days when she was driving around, was pulled over all the time on the most ridiculous. Because she's blonde and attractive and all the rest of it. She was wasn't she? She
drove topless, didn't she?
She did, yes, that was it. That must have been the thing. And was pulled over.
He had a convertible.
Can I make my point? She was pulled over all the time on the most spurious of excuses.
Well, that would be because she's a pretty blonde.
But there you go.
So no,
she's not black.
There's been women's rights, and that's come its way. That's come its journey. That's had people throwing themselves in front of horses.
I don't quite get the correlation between the Emily Pankhurst and her devotees, one of whom threw herself under a horse.
They've got to fight their cause. Fighting the cause of where they've been discriminated against. It's got to be heard. It's got to be put out there. Otherwise, it will just be brushed under the carpet.
But it's not exclusively that other people do get pulled over. It's not exclusive.
Of course, I got pulled over the other day.
Shall we throw a caller into the mix now, shall we?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we should.
This is Phil doing producing. It's fantastic.
Hello, Katie.
Hiya.
Look,
Yeah, I
isn't
was
that
just
lovely?
listening to the comments that were coming up
Well, aren't we all?
regarding life mattering, and the fact that it's just getting beyond ridiculous, quite frankly. Yes, I'm a white person. However, I'm not racist, and I have no issue regarding anybody's colour. I don't care if they're pink with purple polka dots, to be quite honest. I will treat somebody the same way that they treat me. Treat me with respect, and I'll do exactly the same back for you, regardless of colour. However, what is I'm finding disturbing, I think is probably the best way of putting it, is this the marches have not helped with the COVID situation. We're all trying to look after each other and stay safe. And as we all are aware, the cases are rapidly rising quite considerably. The fact that you've got renter mobs on both sides jumping on the bandwagon. And I agree with Phil, that awful shooting inside a police station where the sergeant lost his life was horrendous. And no, it's been covered on the news, but there has been no big uproar, hoo-ha, or anything else about it. It's just being accepted that is part and parcel of a police officer's life. Whereas actually it shouldn't be. They're in a place of safety in theory, in a police station. That should never have happened. And our emergency services put their lives on the line every day for people, and yet you had those awful protests where people were throwing stuff, injuring police officers, just absolutely dire. I have to wonder what the state of the world comes to, quite frankly, in 2020.
So you see, here's my problem with that, Katie, just to add a sort of a footnote to it, is that when I was saying about the level of fuss being made, is that what ultimately sparked the BLM movement this time around, rightly or wrongly, was the killing of George Floyd. Now, as I've said before, did he deserve to die? No, I don't think anyone deserves to die. Do I think that some people take their lives a little bit too much for granted and think that they are God? Yes, I do. But even so, the point is, I don't believe that he deserved to die in that way. And I sure as hell don't think the police have got any right to kill anyone. But here's the big but. It's a two-way street. And I think the difference is the police are out there most of the time, 99.9% of the time, trying to uphold the law and protect civilians. The likes of George Floyd, not someone who is black, someone who has got criminal past. Okay, let me make that very clear. I don't care the color of his skin. But someone like George Floyd had a criminal past. He wasn't doing anything to maintain society and keep it decent and civilized for others. And the difference is to make protests about him, but not about a police officer dying, I personally think is a sick indictment on how the world behaves today, personally.
Yeah, and I'm fully with you on that front, Phil. And I agree. What happened to George Floyd was tragic. Nobody deserves that. Granted, absolutely. And it wouldn't matter whether he was white, black, pink with polka dots, or any other colour. That should not have happened. And I absolutely accept that. However, that has been used as a jumping point for people to get on this bandwagon, kick up a fuss, protest, loot, riot,
I see it as
and injure other people.
Hang on, let Timmy answer that. Go ahead, Timmy.
I see it as the straw that broke the camel's back, that one. Just because it's been going on for so long, it's like we've had enough.
But straw that broke the camel's back, fine. But you know, it's mastering.
That's what's got the rest of it going.
But the problem is that it transpires, or it sort of comes across as martyring someone who ought not to be martyred.
But
what's David saying there, Timmy?
Yeah, he's waiting in.
He just will not come on camera, but he's just so
all right. Well, if he comes near to the mic, then we can hear him.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Otherwise, it's sort of vague mutterings.
Otherwise, it's just a vague thingy. What are you about to say, David? About the guy dying? Here, if you're going to say something.
I think it's appalling that somebody is killed.
Closer.
I can't come any closer.
Okay, well then you might as well not be here, dear.
No, we
Right.
can hear him now. No, we can hear. We can hear David perfectly. Go on, David.
I think it's a shocking thing that somebody is killed by the people who are there to protect them, regardless of what their past is, regardless of what their criminality is, regardless of what they were doing. It's just a shocking thing. He was on the floor for like 10 minutes.
No, I agree. I agree with you totally. I agree with you totally. There's no excuse for it. It's inexcusable.
So then I
It's
think
inexcusable.
and the screaming and the shouting and the waving the banners and being heard is totally justified.
Okay, so do you think then but do you think that there should be more fuss made then of the killing of that police officer that died in Croydon in the past couple of weeks?
I think there's been a lot of fuss made. It's absolutely shocking.
Yeah, we're all talking about it.
How he got a gun in there and was able to do that is absolutely appalling. And I think if people feel that strongly about it, then why don't they go and march? Why don't they go and scream and shout instead of just moaning about it?
But we are talking about it, so there is a fuss being made.
Because
I just think that if you feel that strongly about it, then you have a right to go and march about it. So if people want
because David, I think a lot of people would say we're being responsible. Now you've already heard somebody say, and jump in, Katie, whenever you want. We've already heard people say these marches, we're being asked to separate. You and Timmy have been so careful during this. Been so careful. So if I say, right, Phil, you, me, and everyone, we're very upset, let's go marching. What kind of hypocrite would I be? I'd be a complete hypocrite because I've already, I've already said this is so not sensible.
I think that they're saying. I think that I just say this is my opinion of it. I think like I say, the straw that broke the camel's back. This can't wait any longer because other lives will suffer. So we have to do it now. I understand totally about the coronavirus thing and it being hypocritical if we did it or whatever. But if it's just the time is now, is what I think probably. It just is like we cannot take any more. Going back to something.
How would you feel about that? This was an American issue, a specific American issue, and not a UK issue. You don't get the police doing that here. You don't.
No. Oh, no, that's fair enough. But let's say, to make it relevant for me, if it was a gay person over there, then gay people over here would have the same passion for it.
And also, as white people, we cannot possibly know what it feels like to be a black person when you are out and about in the street. Well, that's me going back to not realizing actually how suppressed I was being a gay person. We've no clue what.
Until looking back, I thought, actually, no, I didn't live the same life as that person who was straight and had the right of everything.
It's very easy for us to say everyone should stay at home, but actually, it doesn't affect us because we're not persecuted. And obviously, there hasn't been a case here where a black person has been killed by a policeman recently, but there have been loads and loads of cases where people are pulled over for things that they haven't done or continually harassed, and I just think it's shocking.
Well, my partner had not one, not two, but three. I repeat, 3 police cars surround her car on the spurious bullshit reason that she'd driven away from a petrol station not paying for petrol, none of which was true. It's absolutely made up nonsense. 3 police cars, seriously, one woman on her own.
Lib thing.
I'm saying that's shocking.
That's shocking. But I'm going back to the woman's lib thing. They had to fight their cause. Women have to fight their cause as well.
And let's just say, and this is a ridiculous argument, because I hope it never happens, but let's just say that she was in a situation with the police where she was injured or, killed. You'd be out there marching. You'd be out there screaming. You'd be out there waving your banner. And quite rightly so. And
if it was, let's make it a little bit, say, and she was being sexually harassed by the police and everything, there would be a big march by women, wouldn't there? Saying, police.
Where was the big march, Timmy, in the financial sector, where sexual harassment of women in the city was endemic? Where was the march then? Answer: there wasn't one.
No.
Tell you what,
there wasn't one.
Put another thing, okay? Because I've been looking this up because I've been intrigued by this. I personally, one of my biggest bugbears with all of this is I just hate labeling people. right? So, I mean, I don't actually care sort of what color your skin is. As far as I'm concerned, if you've been shot dead by the police, it's probably unjustified. I don't like the thought terribly at all, one way or another. I don't really care what your background is. However, I'm looking up at this particular website that is a statistics company, a statistician organization, where they have said that in 2020, total number of black people in the USA killed by the US is at 123. Right? Horrendous.
Say this again slowly. Say this again.
Total number of civilians shot dead in the USA by police this year. Yeah. Those who are black stands apparently at 123. Curiously, those who are white stand at 242. Now, I have to tell you, I'm only quoting what's on this particular statistics website. I do not have a way of proving this. I have to take it at surface value, and I have to hope that they are accurate in their data. But if it's accurate, isn't it curious how no one is making the same fuss, that there is actually more people who, not that I think it matters. I really don't think it matters.
The ratio though over there as well. You have to.
And also, I think that the word fuss makes it sound like it's some kind of trivial thing, and I don't think it is trivial.
David, we've got a question to you, and I've got several of our listeners wanting this question to be posed. This question comes from Stephen Marsh. Ed Grossman wants me to ask it as well. Does David therefore condone BLM's aim to abolish the police force, promote anti-Semitism, and create a lawless society? That is an official BLM aim, not my personal assumption. That's from Stephen Marsh.
Of course I don't. Who would? That's ridiculous. All I'm saying is my black friends went on those marches, and we call them BLM marches because that's how they were organized. They went on there because they are sick and tired of constantly being persecuted. And these are people who work in the theatre, black actors in the theatre. The stories they come in and tell me of things that have happened to them in the daytime, it's honestly shocking. And I think unless we can walk in their shoes, we have no idea.
Okay, so
I totally accept that. I used to have another company. My receptionist was black, and every morning Marjorie and I would have a chat, and her young son, who was the most charming young guy, had been pulled over yet again. This is not news to me, and I'm going back about 30 years. Right. So my point is this, and it's a question again to David, Mr. Off Camera, pulling focus from you, Timmy. The thing is this. Those are legitimate aims. I totally agree with that, David. And you can't know what it's like to be in somebody else's shoes. I totally agree with that. I do not agree with the BLM's intent to abolish the police, promote anti-Semitism, and create a lawless society.
I don't think
anybody... And how do you separate the two? This is what's messing with people's heads.
Yeah.
This is what's messing with people's heads. This is what's causing the anxiety.
I get that. I understand that.
Yeah, no, that's great.
The extremists.
They are the extremists. But I understand.
But it's not a few, Timmy. Katie, where do you stand on this? Because you phoned up with your call, and it's a good point.
Katie's phone will be going sky high, girl.
No, go on, Katie. What do you think? Oh, don't encourage him, for God's sake, don't.
This BLM, whatever you want to call it, organization, but their agenda, this defunding of the police service, is beyond ridiculous.
I agree.
In this day and age, do you really, the police are struggling as it is with limited resources, and I have past experience on this. They're struggling as it is anyway. So to defund the police, let's just open the door to the criminal elements to go running amok, do whatever the hell they like, regardless of what colour they are. Because let's put it this way, it's bad enough now with the limited police resources out there. Can you imagine limiting the police resources, whether it be in the UK or the US or any other damn country?
Yeah, I just think it's...
Your criminal elements, if they'll think of their Christmases come early, quite frankly.
I don't think it will ever happen. So absurd, I don't think it will ever happen. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well,
the thing about it is, Katie... it is, Katie and Timmy, is that over in America, where this has been pushed, the reaction has been shocking, and the physical reaction on the street has been shocking. If you ever seen the film The Purge, suddenly the Purge becomes a documentary as opposed to a fictional horror movie. This is what's so disturbing, and all I think is that's happening, and this is why people's mental health is being so affected by all these issues, is that you're being forced to take a side, whereas you want to be in the middle and say, yeah, I agree with that part, I don't agree with that part, or we can discuss like I discussed with Steve First, who you know, Timmy, Steve First, the actor, this morning. I agree, we can agree on that, we'll disagree on that, that's fine, and we'll still be friends. But no, that's not what this being pushed. You got to take a stand, and this is why it becomes dangerous.
And what annoys the hell out of me is if you don't agree with all of it, then suddenly you're a racist, and that is just not fair. It's wrong. It's not. I'm sorry. It's just absolute rubbish.
That's the bit I'm finding. Yeah, I'm finding that offensive. But actually, because I don't agree with this, with the BLM or whatever, or my attitude is, actually, it doesn't matter what colour you are, anybody's life matters. I mean, the other one I could throw in the mix is actually Blue Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Red Lives Matter as in the fire service, or Green Lives Matter as in the
I think the whole thing is
the ambulance service. All those lives matter. And I hate the fact that somebody says, because I'm not supporting Black Lives Matter, I'm white, I'm privileged, I'm this, that, and the other. And actually, I'm deeply offended because I don't care what colour somebody is. My attitude is treat people with respect, regardless of what colour they are. Treat each other with respect. Life will be a hell of a lot better. And I will treat you the same way that you treat me. Treat me with respect, I'll be respectful back.
Katie, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, we're sort of rapidly running out of time. So that's where we leave it with you. But thank you so much. But Timmy, I know that you wanted to say.
Yeah, on that front is I agree with everything Katie said on that. That's how I see it. But what's happening with maybe Jewish people, maybe with with Jewish people, black people, gay people, that in the past there has been an undercurrent of racism and homophobia and all of this going on. Sorry? Well, even now, but still flowing underneath. And that's probably that is what we're dealing with. It's
Let me ask you and David this now. We're in 2020, we're heading up to 2021. Right, and it's difficult because we live in London, which is its own country. Do you think homophobia is still as strong as it was?
Not as strong.
I think it is. You hear about kids.
I mean, it's still around, I would say, but I don't know if it's strong. Yeah. It depends where you are. Yes, absolutely, and because
as I said, because we're in London, it's a different thing. I don't know. So that's where I live.
Definitely across England, and again, because you're not. Are we saying you're not gay now?
Move on.
You won't feel it.
Such a dick. Move on.
You won't feel the repercussions of it because actually there is still, even in London, homophobia, isn't there? Traveling back on a train or on a bus, those two lesbians that got beaten up.
Consciously, I'm sorry. I mean, it was horrific, beyond horrific. Anyone tries to justify it is sick in the head. But thank God that must be a rarity. Otherwise, it would be in the news all the time. Surely, that was horrific.
I don't think it is. No, I don't think it's rare either.
Wow. Okay. Well, I hope it's
Sen Monroe. Timmy. Sen Monroe says you're not gay. You're just extremely happy.
Right. She said it, or he's, or both. I'll say she for both.
We have. Let me quickly try and shoehorn this comment in from Paul Claridge. I totally support everyone's right to fight their corner and fight for what they believe in. I have no issues with Black Lives Matter or any other group as long as they don't cause harm or hurt anyone. However, what does concern me is the overkill. Currently, it's BLM, the overkill as constant pushing agenda by do-gooders. Rent-a-Mob and the media has totally skewed the issue and has perhaps even increased levels of racism, as the racists probably feel that they have a right to react to their in their own disgusting way. And if that isn't sort of an interesting twist to end on, I don't know what is. That's all we've got time for. I'm so sorry. Well, Timmy, Alexis Carrington, War.
I'll be back, I'm sure. I helped their program out no end.
You are a mystery. Thank you for saving our ratings. We appreciate it enormously.
Yeah, right. Thanks so much, Timmy. Bye.
Good Lord.
Oh,
right, there we go.
God,
Right,
he's gone. Thank God for that.
Today. Back on Friday with a 3-hour bonanza as per usual. So we have loads of great guests. We hope you join us then. Thanks for your
Thanks for your
comments.
comments.
Bye.